What's up guys, it's Shoyo, and the second episode of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 has been out for a bit, and it hit hard, bringing us that massive and absolutely necessary explanation about the Culling Game and the whole migration to extinction arc. I can tell you right now, the anime production team did an impeccable job with the direction to try and make such an exposition-heavy episode as dynamic as possible. They used a ton of graphics, charts, and visual summaries to illustrate this mountain of information, even during moments where the focus was just on the characters' faces. You could clearly tell the direction was working overtime to give the scenes movement and fluidity, avoiding that static, boring feel. Even with the anime making our lives way easier when it comes to understanding the rules, this was still an extremely dense episode. That's why we're gonna break it down now, detail by detail, covering everything that was explained, but in a simpler way for you guys to digest. I wanted to drop this analysis as soon as the episode aired, but this is a script that required a little more time to cook so I could explain everything in the best way possible. So let's get into everything that went down. But before we start, don't forget to smash that like button and check if you're subscribed with the notification bell on so you don't miss the next videos and help the channel grow. Also, go ahead and hit share so YouTube pushes this video to more people, all right? Let's go. The episode kicks off showing the sorcerers managing to enter the tombs of the star and being welcomed by Master Tengen. A curious point here is that in the manga, the revelation that Tengen was originally a woman takes a bit longer, but the anime made it clear right away through the character's voice and the pronouns used. The first important detail to note is how Tengen addresses the group. She doesn't call Megumi, Maki, Yuta, Choso, or Itadori by their names, but rather by the weight they carry, or their lineage. She calls Megumi son of Zenin, Yuta, descendant of Michizane, confirming that distant relationship with Gojo, mentioned in Jujutsu Kaisen Zero Choso, Death Painting Womb, and Itadori Sukuna's vessel. A funny yet sad detail is that Yuki Tsukumo asks if there wasn't a nickname left for her, and she gets completely ignored. Those who read the manga know there's a reason for Tengen's cold treatment of Yuki, but we'll talk about that another time. Right after that, Itadori, being Itadori, asks the rudest question possible. Why the hell does Tengen look so bizarre? The answer is that even though she possesses the immortality technique, it doesn't stop the body from aging and evolving, hence the mutation. She even comments that Itadori himself would end up with a similar appearance if he lived for 500 years. This is a crucial detail, guys, because if we stop to think about it, Sukuna's original form shares a lot of similarities with the current Tengen, like the four eyes positioned in the same place. This suggests that Sukuna's ancient body also underwent a kind of forced evolution due to time and jujutsu usage, even if he didn't end up looking exactly like Tengen. Furthermore, Tengen explains that this deformity is the result of the failed merger with Riko Amanai back in Gojo's flashback. Every certain number of years, Tengen needs a new vessel to reset her body to human form. A subtle detail here is that Tengen always seeks to merge with female bodies, probably because she was originally a woman. Since the merger failed 12 years ago, her body continued evolving without breaks. And what's the problem with that? The problem is that Tengen began to transcend. Her existence became something almost immaterial, spreading and merging with the very land of Japan. The body we see in the tomb, talking to the characters, is just a projection, a fraction of her existence, trying to maintain human form. By transcending like this, Tengen's existence became much more similar to that of a cursed spirit. And by approaching the nature of a curse, she became a viable target for Geto's cursed spirit manipulation technique, which is currently in Kenjaku's hands. The risk here is immense, because Tengen is responsible for maintaining the barriers that protect the Jujutsu schools and stabilize cursed energy throughout Japan. Without her, or worse, with her under the enemy's control, the situation would be catastrophic. Now, let's understand the villain's plan. Kenjaku's goal, in short, is to force the evolution of humanity across all of Japan. He wants to elevate cursed energy to a level never seen before. Kenjaku acts like a megalomaniacal mad scientist. He wants to merge Tengen with the entire population of Japan. Since Tengen is now Japan, merging with her would mean transforming all humans into something new. The consequences of this would be unpredictable. Tengen herself deduces that since humanity isn't a compatible vessel like Riko Amanai was, this merger would cause massive instability, resulting in a chain reaction where the evil of one person would contaminate everyone else. And why would Kenjaku do this? Exactly because of the unpredictability. He wants to see chaos. He wants to create something that even he can't control. That's why we see that scene of the giant barrier passing over the map of Japan like a scanner. Figuratively speaking, the characters say humanity would make a passage to the other side. It's not necessarily death, but a forced evolution into a superior and unknown existence. And how does Kenjaku intend to do this? Through the Culling Game. As stated in the episode, the Culling Game serves as a preparatory ritual, a warm-up for the migration to extinction. This game was created to maximize the amount of cursed energy in Japan. As sorcerers fight and kill each other, as ancient sorcerers are reborn and wreak havoc, and as civilians panic, generating more curses. All of this serves as fuel for the ritual. He is literally generating the energy needed to make the merger happen. A very pertinent question Megami asks in the episode is, why didn't Kenjaku use Mahito's idol transfiguration technique to turn all humans into sorcerers at once? Tengen explains that the energy was lacking. Mahito was a young curse, and while his technique was powerful, he didn't have the capacity to transfigure an entire nation instantly. Kenjaku needed a shortcut, and that shortcut is the merger with Tengen. Regarding the rules of the game, honestly, we don't need to memorize everything right now. We'll understand it practically as the episodes come out. The main point is that our heroes need to enter the colonies, which are the game arenas, to save Megami's sister, Tsumiki. Plus, they wanted to kill Kenjaku to end the game, but Tengen throws a bucket of cold water on that idea. Kenjaku isn't the game master. Although he created the ritual for such a powerful barrier to work, he had to make binding vows that took direct control out of his hands. The game operates as an autonomous system. Killing Kenjaku doesn't automatically stop the game, unfortunately. Going back a bit into history, Tengen reveals that this whole mess is only possible today because of the interference of a single man, Toji Fushiguro. Tengen claims there is a destined connection between three figures: Master Tengen, the Star Plasma Vessel, and the Six Eyes Goi. In the past, Kenjaku tried to kill the Six Eyes bearers and the vessels when they were still babies, but fate always found a way for them to reappear on the day of the merger. The only time this cycle was broken was by Toji. Because he possessed the heavenly restriction that gave him zero cursed energy, Toji was invisible to fate. He was the glitch that broke the gear. By killing Riko Amanai, he prevented the merger, causing Tengen to evolve and allowing Kenjaku to move forward with his plans. Ironically, Megumi's dad is indirectly responsible for the current apocalypse. And speaking of Gojo, the other objective of the sorcerers was to figure out how to free him. Tengen reveals that, coincidentally, she possesses the back door to the prison realm. However, to open this door, you need to nullify the sealing technique. There were two tools capable of this: the inverted spear of heaven, used by Toji, and the black rope used by Miguel in the movie. The problem? Gojo himself destroyed or hid these weapons in the past, predicting they could be used against him. In other words, Gojo locked the door and threw away the key. But luckily for them, there is a player in the Culling Game, an ancient sorcerer who calls herself Angel. Her technique is capable of nullifying and extinguishing any other curse technique, including seals and barriers. The new main objective is to find this woman, Hanakurusu, and convince her to help. To wrap up, the group defines their missions. Yuki and Choso stay at the Tombs of the Star as Tenjin's bodyguards, since she is Kenjaku's target. Maki is going to the Zenin clan base to get cursed tools, and I won't even comment on what's coming next, but brace yourselves. Yuta is entering the game immediately to gather intel and hold down the fort, and Itadori and Megami are going after Kinji Hikari, a suspended third-year student who, according to Yuta, is incredibly strong, maybe even stronger than him when he's motivated, although Maki disagrees. Once again, Studio Mappa put on a show of creativity, managing to explain all of this in an illustrative way. Even that final summary with the timeline was great for cementing the content. The animation, despite being focused on dialogue, was gorgeous, with a spotlight on those colored outlines on the characters during key moments. On my end, I tried to explain everything as clearly as possible. The only thing I ask in return is your like and your subscription with the bell activated. Let's try to spread this video to help more people understand this complex plot. I'll see you guys in the next video about the manga, or next week with episode 3. See ya.